Out the roots, he let the beats build, bitch. And we never switch. Even if I'm rich, I'll be broke like I'm Mitch. Niggas talking down, but that's headed in the wrong direction. But I knock the shit out like the boxing section. Cause they can't touch what they can't see. All I gotta do is be the same me. All I gotta do is keep it cheap. Always be the same me. While I'm solid, boy, they can't change me. No.
We live from the boxing section, you dusty ass niggas. What's going on, man? We live from the boxing section, goddammit. Listen, man, I got a very, very special guest, a gem in the boxing community. If you don't know him, he's behind the scenes king. Him and L-Dub, you go to him or L-Dub, they got every answer you need, man. He's been in the boxing game for a long time. A real cool dude. He's got a book out. We'll talk about that. He knows the ins and the outs. You know what I'm saying? We talking about the man inside the ropes. You know what I'm saying? My boy, Big Dog, Luke. What's going on, Big Dog? How you?
Oh man, I thought you were talking about someone else. I thought someone else was coming on the show.
What's going on, man? How's everything?
Man, it's like 110, and I'm honored to be on your show, bro. I'm a big fan. I'm a subscriber.
Oh, man, likewise, man, likewise. Quick question, man. How you liking the fights today?
Oh, they're real. You know, I get real nerdy, so I watch all the fights and stuff. But I just like seeing, being able to see all the young people be able to get their fights aired. So to see the deep undercards. But my guy Raiz Aleem just got a win. That's good. Joey Spencer's fighting right now. It's always good when boxing's on.
For sure, man. What are your thoughts about Joey Spencer?
I mean, look, everyone wants these 22-year-old kids to be 33-year-old men. You know what I mean? Like, Joey's obviously had some bumps in the roads and some issues, but it's like he's still developing. And not every fighter gets to the same place via the same road. So I just feel like Joey's a work in progress, but I think there's a ton of potential.
Okay. Where do you see him at 160?
I mean, for real, I don't really see him in that picture just yet.
Now he's at 54. I thought he was at 160 last time I saw him.
Joey's not really in the mix yet. Like, Joey's got to take a fight to get himself in that picture. But I think he has a lot of intangibles that make him very interesting, and he's got a good amateur background. This is like his first kind of step-up fight, but he hasn't taken on those fights that kind of enter him into any conversation, in my opinion.
Right. So who are your prospects for 154?
154? I mean, it's Xander and Jesus Ramos Jr. Those are kind of like my two guys. Bro, let's throw it to you. Let me ask Kyle Boxing Session that I love. Who's your guy at 154?
The Transformer, man. The Olympian.
But isn't he 60? He's 60.
No.
Oh, Amari.
No,
Troy's at 60 or 54 now?
54. So I got him at 54, and then I have Amari at 60. Those are my two young guns at those two weight classes.
Yeah, throw them in there. I think Jesus Ramos Jr. is really good. I think Xander's obviously really good. It's a tough division. I think Charles Conwell's another one, right? Charles Conwell's a really good fighter. Israel Madrimeyev's a really good fighter. There's a slew of good fighters. I think as fight fans, the big thing is we want to see the fights. We don't want to be told someone's good. We just want to see, like, I'm sure you're like me. We grew up in an era where we respected demonstrations. So I want a great fighter to demonstrate to me their greatness.
Right. I mean, it's so hard. Well, like You know what I'm saying? The business of boxing won't even allow us to get the fights. I don't even like. Listen, as much as I want to see like the Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, I'm like, my mind is conditioned to know that I'm just not gonna get it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that sad? Like, because that's almost like saying like we're conditioned to not get a Super Bowl in February. For if you're a football fan, that's the way boxing fans have been taught to think.
Yeah, and it's like I had Coach Cunningham on the show once. Coach Cunningham on the show like probably a couple months ago, and he was saying kind of like the same thing. He was like, man, if the Boston Celtics win the East and the Warriors win the West, but they never play for the championship, that's kind of how boxing is, man.
And we just accept it, right? Because it's like we have no general power over it. Like I was talking to my mom. She was like, oh, there's boxing on tonight. Should I come over to your place? And it's like, well, it's an $80 pay-per-view. I probably will get it. It's like a game time decision, right? I like to support boxing. And she's like, who is it? And I told her, and she goes, well, it's a 43-year-old man versus the guy that lost to Anthony Joshua. Boxing gives us a lot of things where it asks a lot of us as fans to make financial commitments. And then when we get our return as a fan, it's seemingly very small for how much we put in. And that's kind of like the business of boxing, because I don't want Ruiz or Ortiz to get paid less, but it kind of stinks also that the consumer gets stuck with their salary. And that's why it's on pay-per-view instead of, can you imagine how big this event would be if this entire card was on Fox on a Sunday of Labor Day weekend? This is like a moment.
I mean, it's like it's golden, and it's the thing about it too, right? The fighters, they're stuck in these contracts where they can't really do anything. You know, they always talk about like the Ali Act, Man, the Ali Act is cool to a point.
Nobody's ever won the Ali Act in court, by the way.
And because you can't, right? Because it's a thing where, right? It's like this. The Ali Act is for 3 years, right? But in the contract, when they put like, okay, say if I get you like a secondary belt within like 10 fights, that adds like another year or two on your contract. So
well, I mean,
technically, that 3, huh?
No. I like where you're going. I was just gonna throw deep in the puddle and be like, and we're not even talking Ali Act where it's like the promoter can throw in a contract where there's a clause that gets you stuck into something, and then say a network is like, okay, let's like just pick any fighter, but like say like your Showtime, and this guy has a great style. All right, we want him. So now you've got an exclusive contract with him, exclusive with the manager. Boxing has a way where all of a sudden it's like, wait, how do I have room to negotiate? Because I have so much exclusivity.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Because it's like you look up and it's like, damn, I'm in some more shit. Like, and then, and not to mention, right? Not only is it the promoter, don't forget the manager. Then the manager got you wrapped into some shit.
And now the manager has issues. Some managers have issues with promoters. It's all about politics. So there's alignment. So you're either on one area or another. And then nowadays, networks don't buy fights. Networks are aligned with promoters. Networks don't bid for fights anymore. What entity are you on? And I think that's what also makes it hard is with all of that, to get to a good fight, you have to hope that all the guys on one network or one entertainment platform, they win the fights.
And like tonight, like, look, just tonight, right? We gotta like be like praying that Andrew Ruiz win this fight. We have to.
But I feel like Ortiz is gonna win. Like that's the thing. Is like I feel like Ortiz is gonna win this, Kyle.
That's the point that I'm making, Luke. Is you have to pray that he doesn't, because listen, as boxing fans, if Andrew Ruiz loses this fight, there's no big fights on the PBC side that can be made for heavyweights. There's none. You know what I'm saying? What you want? A Wilder Andrew Ruiz 3. Luis Ortiz 3. Come on,
But here's the thing. I really respect Wilder as a man because I think that he would put pressure on his promoters to get him any type of fight. Now, I think he's not an idiot where he'd be like, okay, I'm going to go to England to fight Joshua on completely his terms. But I feel like if Ruiz loses, he's going to force like a fight to happen because he wants to challenge himself. My issues sometimes come up where it's like, Gervonta Davis, love him as a fighter, but where is Gervonta putting the pressure to take his next? And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope there's a big fight announced in December, but like Gervonta, we're getting to that point where it's like you're older than all these other guys, but you haven't had that marquee step up compared to your peers, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, because if you just think about it, Devin Haney went all the way around the world, took way less money than what he normally takes to show his greatness. Now, was it a good idea? It's yet to be seen. Yeah, he got the belts, he got the glory, but sometimes the belts and glory don't come with the money. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, because I mean, with Tank, I mean, listen, you can literally match him up with me and you, fight him together.
And we'd love it because then it would change our life. We'd have a different tax bracket. We'd probably have a different car. Hey, I'm going to say this right now. You and me will sign up for that. So Tank, if you're looking for a 2-on-1, all you got to do is pay. What do you think? 1.5 million for the both of us? I think that's a fair number.
Listen, I'll take 600,000. You know
okay, you'll take 600,000. I'll take a little bit more than that one. We'll negotiate that.
Listen, man. Because I'm saying, dog, if you think about it. You can put anybody in the ring with him, and it's gonna sell no matter where you go, no matter what you do.
And that's the danger, though. That's the danger, though, because he sells so much, but I think because of that, he is the face of boxing right now.
Yeah.
And then that you have to hold him to the standard of he's Patrick Mahomes of boxing to a certain extent.
Yeah. The only thing is, the casual boxing fan, they don't give a damn. And the casual boxing fan is the extra money that's coming in to support the boxing that we want. Because it's like this. We're going to watch shit, whether or not, no matter who we're going to watch it. We're going to sit down, order pay-per-view, or go to the fight. We're going to watch it, right? And that's a bad thing for it, but that's what we are. We are. I like to say drug addicts or prostitutes, either one, because we're kind of like stuck. We're just gonna do it. The casual fan, they have it to where it's like, oh, they don't know that much about what's going on in this sport. All they know is Gervonta Davis is gonna knock somebody out. He's gonna have all the rappers with him. That's what he's gonna do. And then they come in, they bring the money, and our money is always gonna be there because we're dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're kind of dumb. We're just gonna keep buying it. Like tonight. Like, you think about this, bro. Me and you are thinking about paying $80 or $40, $50, however much it is, to Andrew Ruiz and Luis Ortiz,
which is a TV fight. That's a regular. That's a television fight. This is an HBO main event type fight. This is not a pay-per-view fight.
This is a co-main event.
But I mean, to be generous, we could say like this could headline a card in Atlantic City in 2011. Like, this is not a mega event. That, like, I tried to watch this morning. I woke up and I was drinking coffee. I tried to watch the pre-show pay-per-view and I couldn't sell myself. Do you know how hard that is as a boxing addict to watch a pre-show video that's trying to get you hyped? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is not getting me excited. Like, going through Luis Ortiz's hits, it's like he beat Bryant Jennings when Andre Ward was fighting. And I was talking to Bryant Jennings when Andre Ward was fighting. And Andre's been out of the ring for a long time. And that's when Luis Ortiz was in his prime. It's been a minute. We don't got to put a number to it, but it's been a minute. And yeah, I mean, it's just, this is a hard sell. And I think the other part is it's like, okay, so what's the accompanying fights? Abner Maris back, and I don't feel comfortable about him fighting. I really like Jose Valenzuela. I'd like to see him fight. I like Isaac Cruz. He's fighting a guy moving up in weight. I don't know how competitive that will be. It's like, I just wish there was something to sweeten it, you know, like a Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia type fight where it's like, ooh, we got that one fight where it's like we need that fight.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Boxing Section, who I absolutely love and I've subscribed and I like the channel and I left a comment on this actual video, is it really feels like we're getting log jams in divisions where guys don't want to fight and they're just kind of like, where can I fit in? How can I make the most money? Because the top guys are getting all the belts and then they're not very active. And it's like, it just feels like we're in a weird place in the sport.
And not only that, dude, there's so many managers, there's so many promoters, there's so many TV contracts, there's so many streaming platforms. It's so hard to get people in the ring to fight each other, man, when it's not beneficial for the manager or the promoter.
And I think that's like, I guess I'm nostalgic maybe, and it's for the wrong reasons, but there's a part of me that's about pride, right? And that's why like guys like Fury, Wilder, they'll always have my attention because there's a part of both of those fighters that made that trilogy where it was about pride. Sure, they made a ton of money, but it was also about, I want to challenge myself against the best. There's not, do you know what I mean?
Wilder did not have to take.
No, he could have rejected the fight after the draw. He could have been like, you know what? I think I won, long knockout. We'll never fight again. But he went and then he lost. And then he was like, all right, I'm exercising the rematch clause. To me, that's about pride. And that's what I'm in this sport for. So he won me over as a lifelong fan with that. Why
because
isn't
you argue that the what was it? Amari Jones fight. Me and you.
Oh yeah, we get. But that's how we bond as boxing fanatics, right? I thought Fury was gonna win the fight, but it doesn't mean I don't respect Wilder as a man, right? Because it's like, just because skill set, I think Fury's just a tough matchup. It doesn't mean I don't respect the hell out of Wilder, because imagine a guy has your number kind of on paper and you say, I want him. How many of these fighters do the opposite? That's what makes me go, you know what, Wilder? If you ask for a pay-per-view, I'll pay for it because you've earned that from me.
Yeah, not only does he earn it that way, he actually goes on to the smallest of platforms and like gives everybody a boost up. I mean, he's everywhere in the YouTube community, and we know that's where YouTube is where boxing lives. You know what I'm saying? Everybody comes to YouTube to get boxing. You can't go to ESPN, you can't go to Fox and watch it on Undisputed unless it's like a huge, mega crazy fight.
Well, it's the purists, right? It's like all of us just live, breathe, and breathe boxing, right? And it's like, I think it's cool that Wilder gives back to the people that really care about his career, because we obsess so much about these fighters' careers. And I think it's pretty cool that he understands how much people are putting into his career. And he's like, hey, let me give your platform a boost. I'm a notable celebrity. I'll do that. He's kind of like one of these guys that I never thought would become one of the guys that's becoming one of my guys in this era. But he's become a guy where it's like, he's going to leave boxing and I'm going to be like, man, Deontay Wilder is really a legend. I miss that guy.
Like, just imagine, because his retirement versus like Fury's the best fighter with all that ever. Nobody cared about his retirement. When Deontay Wilder was like, I'm thinking about retiring, everybody was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like a stop. They were like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? And then you kind of see, let's be honest, without him in the heavyweight division, no one really cares. Like, I don't, like, say what you want about if Fury fights Usyk, that's a great fight. But
that's a bootsy fight. Like on like it, imagine trying to tell your friends, hey, there's this weird guy from the Ukraine. He makes funny faces. He's really good at boxing, but he's socially awkward. And then there's a guy that looks like Humpty Dumpty, and he's really good at boxing, but he just looks weird. It's a great fight for the purist. There is no entertainment value for the fan.
Dog, you hit the nail right on the head, bro. But because it's like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, But then when you got Deontay Wilder, it's like no matter who he's fighting, you think like somebody's getting knocked out, right? The interest is going to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? There's so much that comes with Deontay Wilder. He's going to have a great quote. You know what I'm saying? Whoever he's fighting going to probably have a good quote too. Like, let's be honest. As much as we know Deontay Wilder shouldn't fight Fury again, right? If they said Fury versus Wilder again or Usyk versus Fury, everybody's going to pick Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury.
But that's also because that third fight was so badass, bro. That's like one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. It's the best heavyweight trilogy we've ever had. Like, if you're a fan of Wilder, there was a moment you thought Wilder was winning. If you're a fan of Fury, there's a moment you thought he was winning up. And it was one of the most interesting fights I've seen ever. And then if you get like Usyk, you're going to get like just a boxing match, you know, where it's like, you'll be in and out.
No guts, no glory is what they say.
I think the thing about Wilder is he's so relatable because there's an element to his style. It's almost like a street fight. So any person can just approach his fighting style and they understand he's just trying to lay you out. And it's like, we really lack those type of fighters right now. The guys that are like, we don't have a Roy Jones. We don't have a Mike Tyson. And I guess I'm going to be controversial here. Deontay Wilder is kind of like the closest thing to a Mike Tyson or a Roy Jones currently, because you're tuning in to see what crazy thing he's going to do in the ring. And we don't have those guys.
Yeah. The second coming of that, when he gets his chance.
Are we talking about Philly?
Come on, man.
Are we Philly in the building? You know, Philly has guns in Philly, so I always say, don't shoot me, Philly. But are we talking about Philly?
I'll be out there October 1st for a fight.
Okay. And, are you swinging through the gym?
Come on, I live there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's my second home.
I didn't know you were from Philly. You need to come
with me, man. Fuck it. You need to come with me.
No, that's my birthday weekend, man. I can't get shot at in Philly because, Philly's strapped. I'm a nerdy guy. Every now and then they might press up. But I'm going to go to Philly soon because everyone knows I'm the number one fan club, Boots Ennis. Number one. I'm number one fan club, Boots Ennis, Shakur Stevenson. I'm riding that wave. Like that's.
Are you going to the Shakur fight?
I barely go to any fights, bro. I have to physically know you to go to your fight. Like I'm in the house. I'm a studio gangster. You're going to it?
Oh, I got to. So this is the thing, right? I'm like Top Rank on accident, right? So what happens is my first podcast trip was to Atlantic City, New Jersey. It was Clarissa Shields fighting on Friday.
I almost went to that.
Huh?
It's the wrong Clarissa Shields card, but I almost went to that one of the Clarissas in Atlantic City. But I'm just being a rude guest, I'm being obnoxious. So keep on going with this compelling story.
Family, look, I didn't bring you on for an interview. Really, I didn't.
We just chopping it up, bro. That's
hey, listen, I really got you on because our conversation was so good last time, but it ended. See, I got StreamYard, so we could talk. For.
It's all good, bro. I literally consider you part of my boxing family, bro. We've met in real life. We've had good energy, bro. We know the same people, and I feel like we think very similarly, and we just connect. So it's like, as long as you want me on, I'm good. I might drink a couple of these things, grandpa's cough medicine, and, gradually say wilder things. But you know what? Whoever loves me, and whoever doesn't, they probably won't.
This is the place for that. You know what I'm saying? This is the place for that. So that weekend was when I got spoiled, right? And one of my good friends, Steven Nelson, right? He was the reason why I started the
So Cold.
Yeah. So
shout out Raquel Miller, Steve Nelson,
Yeah. So that's how I started the podcast, was because of him and my boy Fred. They was like, man, you just start your own. You know what I mean? So I go to Atlantic City because I told him when I met him at the Spence Porter fight. And me and him was arguing about Bud versus Earl Spence. Now I didn't even know that this is Bud's best friend, but me and him were just going back arguing about
just on like how me and you didn't know we were. Like we just got into it because that's just how boxing. We like conflict, you know. And then I'm like, oh goody, this is one of my people. Let's conflict.
Yeah. So I ended up going to his fight, and it was also Clarissa Shields' fight that Friday. So my first interviews, we talking Jamel Herring, Bomac, Shakur Stevenson, Buddy McGirt, and Jesse Hart.
I almost hit you with a CML Lavish D. What else?
Yeah,
but I didn't.
So that was the first weekend of my boxing life, right? When I got into the podcast game.
So that's a pretty good start. Like what I'm trying to think who my start was. It was Orlandito Del Valle and Zoila Frausto Gurgel. So I think you beat me on your intro to game.
Yeah, but see the thing about having a great start, it's hard to go back and try to like relive it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you're
talking to me. Like you really like look at where you started, and now it's like shit, man.
Yeah. So and then it's like, because then, right? You look at people like, man, hold on, dog. Like I done had this guy and that guy on my channel. You know what I mean? So it's like then you get the like, hold on, that you get the pride, like, you know, hold on, man. I done had Bomac on my channel. Who are you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done had this guy, that guy on there. So you know what I mean? So that's one of them things where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's kind of like you gone to so many heights and then you got leveled back down. So being that COVID had hit right after that fight. That fight was in March. I mean, in February. COVID hit in March, heavy. So there was no boxing. So that start, I couldn't like capitalize on that start. I had to like kind of redo like how I was redoing things. So I had to like get. So what happened? I started getting like the lower tier fight, like not lower tier, but like up and coming fighters. So all the up and coming fighters that have been a part of my channel, they're on the Shakur Stevenson card. And then Shakur Stevenson was one of the first people that I interviewed in that weekend. So that was like, oh shit. So now, like I told him when I first met, I said, man, listen, if I can help it, I ain't gonna miss no more of your fights ever. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of where it's been with me, Shakur Stevenson. And then there's Jahai Tucker on that card.
Oh, shout out my guy, man. Jahai Tucker, man.
He gonna be a problem at 147 soon.
He's like, the black Teofimo Lopez. He goes viral on every fight.
Yeah. And then so it's him on the card. Then you got Cashflow Diaz, Shushu, Keyshawn Davis. So it's like you can't skip out. There's no way to skip out. It's a good fight with Joey Spencer, though.
Yep.
Had to go get a cold one, huh?
I had to get a cold one, bro. I had to run to it. But I was getting the general point, bro, of the undercard.
I mean, the undercard is... I love, like, the way Top Rank has stacked all of the young talent together, and they put them on these cards for everybody like to see these young up-and-comers. The best thing.
I mean, people call me a Top Rank shield sometimes because I mostly go to Top Rank cards, but man, their undercards are deep, bro. And they got all those young fighters from Tiger Johnson to Charlie Sheehy. We got to get Charlie on your platform, bro. Charlie's a phenomenal fighter, really good. I really believe in Charlie Sheehy, real good. Top Rank, like really all these promoters do a good job. It's just I feel like Top Rank consistently has the most fight dates on American platforms, and that's a big thing for me. DAZN offers a lot of UK fights. I'm an American. I want to see American fighters fighting in America. So I'm more drawn to the PBC and Top Rank because they have American fight dates for American fighters.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you know.
I mean, like, think about Top Rank too, though, is they know how to put a great show on. Like it's always a good show. Like they know how to like this fight right here. They will put this fight on TV, and then when they put this fight on TV, right, it will be like a life or death situation. Like we think that him and Ortiz could get a fight after this. We're not like this. Isn't like they haven't made it seem like we gotta have this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like Jose Pedraza and Richard Comey. Whoever lost that fight, we thought was done. They're a gatekeeper that finished. Somebody got to retire. You know what I'm saying? This fight, we don't feel. I don't feel like that when I watch the Luis
For sure.
Yeah, it's like they both have another chance.
I think that Top Rank and PBC have two different mentalities in terms of treating a fighter. Top Rank, it's like there's the superstar and there's the guys that are going to fight the superstar. I think the PBC is like, okay, even if you lose a fight, let's get you another opportunity. So I think there's just two different philosophies. I think what's interesting to me is the Top Rank matchmaking of like young fighters because they're putting these kids in real tough. Like Duke Reagan, a fighter that we both really like, right? It's like he had a really hard fight that not a lot of people watched, but that'll probably groom him to be a better fighter fighting that type of fight. My only frustration with the PBC has been I want to watch Rashid Warren's fight where he loses. Why isn't this telecast for me on YouTube? Or why can't I pay $5 to see these fights? Beyond that, it's like those are the two promoters I'm most drawn to currently in America. Are Top Rank and PBC because they give me the product I want, which is boxing, as often as possible.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, man, the PBC kind of fell off, man. They had a great run and like it just plateaued out of nowhere. I'm like, damn, what the hell just happened? Like, because shit was going, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the reasons why I don't like Keith Thurman, man. Hate
no one likes like look, bro. Can I just hate real for one moment of Lukey hate? If you get invited to a nice function, why are you gonna wear a white tee? Especially like why are you gonna not put on a
white tee?
Yeah, like he looked like he came out of Dem Franchise Boys white tee music video from 2004. And he's like on Showtime, and you know everyone you know is watching this. Put on a nice shirt, bro. At the very least, make a shirt that says Keith Thurman. But it's like, that is just like such an amateur hour move where it's like, you probably shouldn't be competing with the big dogs if this is your go-to fashion. I know it seems like a little thing, but it's actually a big thing. If that's like, I feel like being fashionable, you have to dress for the place you're going to. And as a fighter, you have to be situationally aware. So they kind of overlap in a way.
And then like the collar was all like bent up and bent down. It's like, what are you doing? It looked like he had a fucking tablecloth on, man.
It looked like he was wearing a dress, bro.
And did you see an interview with him and Brian Custer?
I mean, I probably did. Like, I've never sat down and watched like a full thing, but I've seen little clips and stuff. But what was he saying?
That's all I've seen. Like, just the clips alone, I can't sit through a whole Keith Thurman interview, bro. I could barely sit through the 30 seconds that I've seen because he's so full of shit. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine if he was a street dude? Like, imagine the Keith Thurman stories about, man, back in the day when I was a street dude, I did, and it would be like this preposterous tale that was like Rambo. He'd be like, I don't know if that happened, Keith Thurman, because I've never heard about such a thing happening. It's just like
he was undefeated.
he said Errol Spence is ducking him because he didn't fight him because he gave up his belt because he didn't fight him. And then that does not make him the truth because he never faced him. Although Keith Thurman was the roadblock in all of those fights.
And like, so I used to didn't like Sean Porter until I met him, right? But I got the real play on why the Sean Porter and Errol Spence fight didn't happen like right after that, right before Ugas. So once I got that information, I said, oh, okay, now I gotta move past it. But when Keith Thurman like literally told you, hey guys, I ain't fighting nobody. This is a comeback season. I ain't fighting nobody. And then you got Errol Spence coming off like a life or death situation. He fights Danny Garcia.
I mean, I just feel like Keith's kind of a corny dude. He's a talented fighter, but it's like he was the guy in the last decade. He was the guy he beat Danny Garcia, he beat Sean Porter. And then what does he do with it? He sits on the shelf for 2 years. Errol Spence catches up. So it's like, great, you're on the shelf. Let's put you and Errol Spence together. Nah, man, I need 1.5 years. Huh? That doesn't sound very boxerly. And then Errol just kind of surpasses him, and he kind of feels like a hater now, where he's like talking about everything Errol should be doing with him, when it's like, for most of Keith's career, he had the opportunity to fight Errol Spence. But then when Errol surpassed him, now he wants to fight him. And it's just a very bizarre thing.
No, yeah, no question about it. All right, so let's get into your boxing, man. I still want people to understand, like, so how did you get into the boxing game?
I mean, that's real. Let me share. Before I answer that, I actually wanted to share an exclusive story with you about Deontay Wilder. So that's more interesting than how I got into the boxing game. Is I was I hate to like big up myself, but I was interviewing Bob Arum, and I was sitting. Have you ever if you ever interviewed Bob Arum, it's not an easy process to do a one-on-one with him, even in a media room. You have to talk to like multiple people, and then Bob, you have to sit basically in the space of Bob, and then when Bob tells you he's ready, then Bob is going to do the interview. So I was just sitting there and I'm like, did I do something wrong? And then he looked over at me and he goes, I'm ready. And I'm like, oh, I guess I get my Bob Arum interview. But it was like, I literally probably spent about 20 minutes just sitting in front of him, and he was drinking a cup of coffee. And then he was just kind of like living his life, like he was reading a newspaper, and it's very strange. But what I wanted to share with you was, before we started the interview, Deontay Wilder was doing like the media rounds for his fight with Tyson Fury. It was the second fight. I was there with Gabriel Flores Jr. And Bob Arum looked at me before the interview and goes, man, I can't do the Bob voice. He's like, man, can this guy sell a fight? He said that. And it was like something that the fans or people will never understand. But Bob Arum has immense respect for Deontay Wilder, whether he'll say it or not publicly, because the way he watched Deontay Wilder go to every media outlet, like, it was pretty impressive, because that media row it was probably like 2019 or something. He went to every outlet and he knew a way to connect with each viewership, and then he'd always slip in the bomb squad, and he'd figure out a way to be a polarizing personality. And it was like, here I am doing this interview with Arum, and it's mostly going to be about Gabriel Flores Jr., about like, let's get some clips on him. But he told me before, he's like, man, can this guy sell a fight? And it's like, Arum's a legend. He's had Ali and all these guys. I wanted to share that for you on your, I don't know if that's a good story or not, but I wanted to share that on your platform.
No, that's good. That was good, man. Is Gabe going to retire, or is he going to try?
Nah, he's fine, bro. He's going to come back. I don't want to say, like, he's going to take a long layoff from the sport. He's not retired at all. It's just like, bro, he took a lot of punishment in that last fight. It really sucks as someone that looks at him as a little brother. And he'll be back. And then the minute we have a local date, I'm going to definitely text you, and you're going to be there. And I'm going to make sure that you have all access and can get the viewers of this channel the best content.
My man, appreciate that. So you're going to have to figure out a way to get to Jersey on the 23rd, man.
I mean, I might have to step my money game up, but positive note, October 29th, there's a show at Cache Creek in Brooks, California, and I will make sure that you can get into that one if you want to go see it. Some local fighters and all that. But I don't know, man. We'll let you know. But on the 20th, I don't know if I'm going to make the 23rd for Shakur, but I definitely like Shakur is someone I've always believed in Shakur. Like, I think the first interview I did with Shakur was like 2015 when he was on the Olympic trials team. And the first time I ever saw Shakur spar, which was like 2014, 2015, I was like, this guy's better than pros. I won't say who I saw him spar, but he sparred a really famous world champion, and he was handling him. And the guy was, so Shakur would have been 26. Let me count up how many weight classes. So 30. So he was 4 weight classes higher, maybe 5 weight classes higher. And Shakur won every minute of every round of that sparring. And I was just like, there's not many kids at that level that can do that.
My boy Willie Shaw was telling me he sparred him. He was coaching him. He's older.
Shout out my man Willie too, man. Willie's a great guy. Yeah, I mean Shakur's like one time he came to this gym in Martinez I used to go to a lot, and he was rapping ASAP Rocky songs to people while he was sparring them because he was that bored. So he was like rapping the songs, and he's just like, yeah, I don't care about no problems. Boom, boom. And it was like he was so uninterested because of the challenges. And that's Shakur. It's like he truly is one of the greatest fighters of this era, and that's just what it is. It sounds like I'm just like a fanboy of him, but it's like he truly is one of the greatest fighters of this era. If you ask any of the fighters of this era, they all have respect for him, and I don't really see anyone beating him outside of maybe Devin Haney. Like that's the only guy that possibly could give him an issue.
I mean, that's it. And the only person that could give Devin Haney an issue is him. For me, like, Tank got power. He's a great boxer and stuff like that. I just think Devin Haney knows what he's doing. He knows his limitations. He knows.
And he's bigger.
Yeah. I mean, that don't really matter with Tank, though. I ain't going to lie. Because Mario Barrios was a big guy. He chopped him down.
Yeah, but Devin's a technically sound big guy. Like if you're big and you know what's going on, I think what happened with Tank and Barrios was Barrios a really good fighter, but I think he was also in the beginning. Tank was seeing how hard Barrios hit, and I think Barrios was sitting there waiting to see how hard Tank hit, and that let Tank get comfortable. I think if Mario maybe had started quicker, then that fight could have been maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. So to everybody that's coming in the chat, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Let's talk about 130. Do you think Shakur Stevenson will get another bet at 130? Or do you think
I mean, does it matter? Like, we know he's the best guy. Like, he's basically undisputed without being undisputed. Like, is there any champion there that you really go, man, if Shakur fights this guy, this is going to be a close one? Like, I mean, not to be rude, but it's like, if Consacao to me is one of the guys that I feel like if he fought Joe Cordina or Hector Garcia, he probably beats him, right? I don't know how you feel, but I think Consacao has a very good chance against either fighter. And Shakur is probably going to beat him, more than likely. I think his time at 30 is pretty much done soon because he's just going to go to 35 and then do it all over again.
Yeah. And the good thing about the 130 situation is he didn't have to rush into 35. So we don't have to like make a quick decision on, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that him and Devin Haney are ever going to fight for real.
I mean, that would be good for me because I like both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I mean, to me, Devin and Tank need to fight because their fan bases are so closely aligned. Someone needs to be like the best fighter that represents like hip hop. Like that needs to happen. Like that's a major moment in pop culture. It's like fans of Tank and fans of Devin. That's a moment that's bigger than boxing. And we need that as a sport to see. Like that's a moment that helps build the sport up.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, no question about it. How do you what's the sleeper division? What's your sleeper division?
Sleeper division. Let me think. I mean, 168 is pretty good if David Benavidez can get a belt. Like if David Benavidez can get a belt at 168, David Benavidez is one of those fighters. I think he's one of the 5 best fighters in the world. And if he can get a belt, that'll be a good division. Let's see, a sleeper division. What's another good sleeper division? I mean, 126 is going to be pretty good pretty soon. 130 is going to be good. 140 is really exceptional right now. Like 140 is like pretty much any, like the way people used to look at 154 is the way 140 is right now. Like you can't be a manufactured fighter and be a world champion at 140. Like there has to be something somewhat real about you, because there's guys like Regis, there's guys like Jose Ramirez, there's guys like Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barbosa. There's too many formidable opponents at 140 to be kind of smoke and mirrors. I think the big thing is I'm kind of waiting on the Charlo brothers. I really want to see them back in the ring and in some fights, because they're people that move the needle for me, but they just take so long from their one fight. Like it's like Jermell is undisputed and he might come back in January. It's just such a big gap. Like that's kind of my sleeper is I'm waiting on the Charlo brothers, because I feel like they kind of have the boxing world, like a lot of the boxing world's attention, and a lot of people want them to be full-fledged stars, but they haven't quite had those moments to really get to the next level.
Yeah, but see, and the thing is, they shit on their fan base so much, man, that it's hard to even like support them.
I know, but that's kind of what makes them interesting, right? Because it's like they're just really angry people, and it's just kind of like watching like a disaster happen. Like they're just kind of interesting.
Now I feel you, but I ain't paying for that. I ain't spending no money. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to like I was a big Charlo fan. I bought all these sweatsuits and you know what I mean, all the shit. But once you start saying fuck the fans and we ain't shit, we broke and all that shit, all right, I'm broke. And I'm not paying.
That's my favorite. I remember someone asked them about Demetrius Andrade. They're like, will you fight Demetrius Andrade? No, because he's broke and he could stay broke. It's like, wait, what does that have to do with boxing though? It's like you're just saying like this isn't Fortune 500 like Forbes. This is about who's the tougher man. Like what is how much money you have to do with anything?
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about that. All they care about is that money.
I mean, I kind of like cruiserweight in a weird way. If we can get all like the washed up, like the Kovalevs versus Badu Jack, like I wouldn't be mad at like a co-main event one like that. Light heavyweight's always going to be god awful. Like light heavyweight's always going to be terrible. It's like I feel like light heavyweight always has 6 good fighters, and then there's a slew of guys that will never get over those 6 guys.
Yeah. How do you feel about Anthony Yarde, man? I think he's gonna die against Artur Beterbiev, man.
I mean, it's a mismatch. It's like Beterbiev might be the best fighter of this era, which sounds like really big to say, but it's like we've never really seen him fully tested, so we don't know just how good he is. And Anthony Yarde has never struck me as like a guy that I'm gonna remember more than like a few. Like after 5 years after Anthony Yarde retires, I'm going to pretty safely forget who he is. Yeah. And like, that's probably not going to be really good. Like to get in the ring with that type of talent, that's going to be, I mean, better. Like who out there do you think could give Beterbiev a real challenge, bro? He's a monster, bro.
I was talking to Lionel Thompson. He says no one.
Bro, everyone says he hits so hard. They say he hits so hard. And they're like I talked to Iceman John Scully, and he works with him, and he's like, bro, when he fought in Fresno, he went 11 rounds with this guy and basically comes back to the corner and says, okay, I'm going to stop him this round. And then he stops the guy. So he stops the guy in the 12th round. It's like, I mean, I'd like to think Bivol maybe could give him issues, but then if we go to the amateurs, Bivol never got to be an Olympian because Beterbiev was beating him up in the amateurs. It's like, do you think Zordo's going to handle? I like Zordo. I'm a fan of Zordo, but it's like Zordo doing that come forward stuff against Beterbiev. That's not going to work. I honestly think Beterbiev.
I don't think Bivol beats Zordo Ramirez.
I think that's a real close fight, though. Oh, you don't think Bivol beats Zordo?
Nope.
I mean, I'm kind of leaning that way right now. I'm kind of thinking, especially after Zordo got arrested for throwing beer bottles at the general public when he was drinking, shows me he's a wild man. And I think to beat Bivol, you have to be a wild man. Plus, did you see how much bigger that Zordo looks than Bivol? It's like, I don't know, bro. I think honestly, in my opinion, I'm expecting Zordo to look pretty good in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got him, dog. It's
plus they sparred before, and then Zordo's calling for the fight. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. Zordo versus Beterbiev will be a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like. The problem with Beterbiev is he needs something that's like interesting. Like he needs like a David Benavidez, or he needs like a Canelo. He needs like an icon, because it's like just him being good isn't doing it for his career.
Yeah, that's a fact. And him not being able to speak English. Well, he can speak English, he just doesn't. That's hurt.
Bro, his swagger is so confused, bro. Like, it's like I interviewed the guy, and it's like, basically he's going to give you as little as possible, and it's just like, it's not compelling. And then he's one of these guys where it's like he just doesn't understand the business, where he has to be a little bit of an entertainer. He thinks that just fighting well is going to do it. And it's like, he's a Russian guy who lives in Canada, who's fighting in America, who doesn't really resonate with anyone because no one really understands his story.
Yeah. And if if you don't tell anybody, nobody's ever going to know, and then we're not going to really care. Like,
and I think
we only care about
badass.
Yeah, we only care about him because he's killing everybody. Other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else to talk about as far as, his fighting career. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's a different type of dude, bro. He's a different type of dude. I mean, he's really one of the best fighters of his era. I think the other issue is he never fights. He's fought for basically every promoter. He's been on, like, I want to say he's been on DAZN, PBC, and Top Rank, and none of them really found a way to, like, really get him in a position to be a marquee star. So that kind of tells you there's like some universal issue in terms of marketing with him, because it's like you've had every form of promoter get behind you, and it's kind of like my man Demetrius Andrade. I love Demetrius to death, but it's like,
fucking terrible.
But it's like you have Matchroom, and it's like now you're with Salida Promotions, and it's like, why not just try to stay a free agent and just try to figure out what's the biggest fight I can get? Because he's obviously really good. It's just weird decision making.
Yeah, I think his management is just fucking terrible. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
It could be. I mean, I'm not privy to these conversations,
Yeah, I feel you. We got about I'm gonna give us 5 more minutes because I gotta get ready for work, man. And I gotta get these kids together. But dog, this I'm gonna have to have you on at least once a week, bro. It's
all good. I can't guarantee that you'll get can't guarantee you'll get Buzz Lukey all the time. This is a special for Sunday when I don't have to work on a Monday, so don't always get this version of me, but
All
It
versions
is
of
what it
Luke
is.
is a good version of Luke.
I agree with that one, but this is the I've worked really hard and it's 110 degrees where I live. And what else is there to do? You know, I did a really hard workout. Ask me something about like let's get some behind the scenes stories, man. Let's get you something on the way out. Press me, force me to give you something from in the gyms. You know, let's get something good from me.
I'm not gonna lie, Luke, man. I don't really care about that shit, dog. I'm more interested, man, in just chopping it up with you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, but let's get a good story before I get out of here. So, like, what's a good story I can give you? Because I want to give you, I want to give you good stuff.
You gave it to me off wax. I want you to give it to me on wax.
Okay, well, shoot, I've been drinking, so you gotta give the youngster.
Yeah. Abdullah
Hey,
Mason.
can we talk about how saying on wax is a funny term? Because like I guess that's a vinyl term, but it's like most people never even pressed vinyl that rapped or made music like in my era, but they'd say, let's put it on wax. And it's like, really, let's put it on Pro Tools and put it on iTunes Music. Yeah. But what do you want me to tell you?
The Abdullah Mason story.
Oh, I keep telling this. So Abdullah Mason. So his father is named Villiant. Is it Villiant Mason?
I can't remember.
Well, I think it's Villiant. And there was a guy. I'll give you the full. See, this is how much I respect you, Kyle, the boxing section. I'm gonna give you the real story that I didn't even tell you on there for the general public. So I'm telling. So if anyone wants to know, I'm telling when it comes to this. So there was a guy named Vince Gotti, and he was at the time he was doing really good scouting amateur boxing and stuff. Not sure where he is now, but he has a good eye for boxing. And through him, either I got their number or they got my number. It was probably like a phone tag thing. So I get the number and we talk. And it's like the story. He's like, man, you got to see my kid. And he brought up Abdullah by name because I'll always remember that. Brings up Abdullah. And you got to remember the situation I'm in. It's April or May 2020. I'm running a boxing show where it's mostly amateur boxing. And every dad in America is calling my phone daily, telling me, I got to get my son on your show. He's the next Floyd Mayweather. So this is happening over and over. And cut me off if you need to end the show. So he keeps telling me, like, he's like, my kid's good. All we got to do is travel. Like, it's this and that. Now, I felt like I gave him good advice. I can't even tell you the advice I gave him, but I feel like I gave him ethical advice. I'm like, was very reasonable. He has 5 brothers, I remember. And he's like, they all can fight and we're going to travel and that's all it's going to take. And then he fights in the national tournament. He beats Joel Iriarte from Bakersfield, who's a fantastic fighter. And I'm like, man, Abdullah's really good. Signs with James Prince. And I'm like, wow, Abdullah's really good. And then I see him fight. And I'm like, wow, he's really good. And it's just kind of funny how I get probably like, I don't want to say 1,000, but I've probably gotten about 800 calls like that where dads call you. And they're like, oh, what should I do with my son? And like, I thought of 2 right now, but I didn't say the fighter's name. But like, if I said their name, people wouldn't know because the fighters aren't probably going anywhere. But the point of this story is it's funny how when a talented fighter and their family reaches out, it somehow sticks with you. Like it's somehow memorable. And yeah, that's basically that story. I was just sitting in my living room during COVID talking to Abdullah Mason's father. And then he was basically prophesizing everything that happened over the past 2 years. And I was basically skeptical. And now he's a stud. There it is. You got it.
Man, I'm telling you, man. All right, give me one more of those.
You gotta leave me in because you gotta leave me in. So ask me like a certain type of thing, and then I can give you one. But it's really hard to go cold turkey off the rip. Just punch my microphone. Like it's really hard to go cold turkey off the rip and be like, let me give you a good story. Like, do you want a phone call story? Do you want a confrontation story? Do you want a boxing gym story? Do you want a good story, a bad story? Do you like what kind of story do you want?
Man, I don't, man, shoot.
No, come on. You're the host, so we got to get like a little bit.
All right. This is what we want. The best fight you've ever covered.
I mean, the best. I'm gonna give you a twofer. I'm gonna give you a twofer. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a twofer because I really wanted to say something else, but now I'm gonna give you a twofer. So the best fight I ever covered was one of the first fights I ever covered. It was Ricardo Williams Jr. versus Anthony Link, and it was on the undercard of Andre Ward versus Chad Dawson. And they utterly just beat the shit out of each other. And it was like a back and forth fight that no one ever saw. And it was like, that was a fight where I was like, man, this is a really good fight and no one's ever going to see it. And I was just sitting there going, man, this is a tough way to earn a living. The story I was going to tell you was when I got into boxing early in my career, I got into it with a boxer that I'm still close to to this day. When I was young and doing this stuff, and me and him got into a tussle, and he actually punched me, and we were wrestling, and he tried to throw me down a stairwell. And then I was like, damn, I hang out with this dude every day. So it was like, what am I going to do? Right. I was like, I'm out of boxing because it's like, he got offended by something. And like, I was young, so I didn't know how to use my words. And like, he was real prideful. Right. So like, we didn't know how to communicate. Right. And I always remember how he socked me. He had his arms up and he came over the top with the right. My ear started ringing, so I shot and grabbed him. And then we rolled around. And I remember he tried to throw me down the stairs. And I was like, nah, I'm not going down the stairs, right? I'm like, I'm not getting thrown down the stairs. So we got into a tussle. And I remember I drove all the way home. And then I parked my car. And I started crying because I was like, damn, I don't know what to do. So I just started crying. I was in the car and I was just like, I just started crying because I didn't know. I didn't feel pain or I didn't feel emotion, but like, I just felt like I needed to cry at that moment. Like I was like, man, I need to cry right now. So I just sat in my car crying, and me and that guy didn't talk for like a year and a half. And then I saw him at a show and I was like, man, I'm gonna get my ass kicked again. I was like, and me and him talked and we were like, man, this is how it should have gone. And that I'm proud to say that's one of my closest friends. Like me and him had that issue.
Give us the last name.
I can't give out the name because we're not speaking on it like that. But I'll tell you privately, but I'm not going to say, I don't say people's names publicly.
Gotcha.
But we talked, and then from that situation, it was kind of crazy because it's like, all these people that we both knew were trying to intersect that situation and make it a bigger situation. But we both had so much love for each other. We refused to let anyone jump between it. We're like, nah, what happened. So we were just mad at each other. And then looking back, it's like, even if I don't see that guy for a year, I consider him like my big brother, because it's like I spent most of my 20s with him, and like he shaped a lot of my. And we just had like a little falling out, a disagreement or whatever. And it was, if I told you what the argument was over, you would laugh because it's so inconsequential and stupid. But the big thing about it was, we went through a situation where someone could go to jail, someone could be in prison, we just took whatever we took. We took our lumps. We just held it in. We saw each other. We spoke to each other. And now we're closer than ever. And I think that that's what makes me a little bit different in boxing, is going through those type of experiences. I understand how how I always knew how things can lead into bigger situations, because whenever when I went to go here, I'll give you another one, Kyle. I'm going to give you, and then you'll hang up on me. When I went to go interview Edgar Berlanga, someone almost shot at me in traffic. So a guy behind me, I'm doing an interview at Fresno Radio, and I'm expressive, and it's a little hot boy, right? No plates on the car, no shirt on, RIP lanyard. I'm in San Mateo, right? Kid looks at me and he holds up a gun like this, right? Sideways, parks on the side of the freeway. I'm like, man, this sucks, right? So he waits for me to go by, and then he comes out all crazy, like crazy youngster. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to get shot. So I made peace with getting shot, right? It sounds terrible to say that, but I knew I was. So I'm like, okay. But someone that has always told me, they said, never roll down your window if you're going to get shot. So they said, never roll it down. So he's like, oh man, I got to drink the beer. Now I'll cure the hiccups. So what happens is he's telling me to roll down my window. He's like, roll down your window. And someone told me, never roll down your window if someone has the gun on him, like, because the window, whatever it is. So I'm thinking in my head, I just don't want to get hit in my head. So I'm like, so I'm going to take it in my arm, my leg. I might be a paraplegic. And mentally, I was like, okay, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to go into a car. I'm going to crash out. That's like, I'm mentally fine with that. The kid gets scared. And then he drives in front of me. I get off. I park my car like a few blocks off the exit, lay on my back seat for 5 to 10 minutes, drive to the gym. I go see Charlie Sheehy. He's like, Lukey, why do you look so crazy? And I was like, man, I almost got shot at on the freeway over some crazy stuff. He thought I was lying. Everyone thought I was lying. Everyone's like, you're crazy in that. And then I do a video. I can send you the video right now on ITR Boxing with Edgar Berlanga. So I almost got, and then I had like PTSD for 3 days. Like I thought like every young kid that almost looked like the dude that shot me was that guy. So I'd leave my condo and I'm like, damn, it's that guy. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm tripping. And then I forget about it. But yeah, there you go. That's a good story.
Good story. Good story, man.
Listen, man. Is that what you were looking for, or is that too long?
No, man, it's good, man. It's good, man. You know, we just want to hear you talk, man. We don't really care.
Nah, I'm terrible at talking. I'm trying to give you the exclusives. I'm trying to give you some where I'll never share those stories anywhere else.
Look, man, we got a lifelong of stories coming our way. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to check in with you like at least once a month, every Sunday. Once a month on Sunday, man.
So next time we do this, I want to bring on someone with me. So I'm gonna diplomatically bring. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a diplomat. So I'll come on and talk, but I want to bring someone else onto your platform with me.
It's all good. We'll do that once a month then.
I love it. Well, thank you so much to all the people that put up with me. And I'm such a fan of what you do. And I think the world of you. So I appreciate you just letting me be on here.
Man, listen, the feeling is so mutual. If y'all haven't had a chance to subscribe to his channel, please make sure y'all go to In the Ropes Boxing. Great platform. He got some of the best interviews. He just had Kenny Smith on.
Boxing section. That's the best one. Just stay at the boxing session.
He just had Kenny Sims on. He just had Kenny.
That was a fire interview. I feel like I stepped my interview game up for that one.
Listen, that was a good interview. So if y'all, man, he got great content, man. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to his YouTube channel. Follow him on all platforms. Him and L-Dub are good. I think you might know Clever. What's Clever's? Clever, what's his Clever, I think McGee or something like that. His Twitter handle is.
I don't like, just let me know who he is, and I mean it. Even if I don't, shout out to McGee.
Yeah. Hey, Ryu ain't looking too good tonight, man. Are you watching this?
Not yet, bro. Not yet. Yeah, I was struggling.
Huh?
Is he AM PM? You know, like watered down gas. He's not like Chevron with Techron. Is it like that 50, that half water, half gas?
Yeah, he ain't looking like his normal self, man.
Is the guy moving?
Man, he can't beat Keyshawn Davis. Is what I'm gonna tell you.
Well, I mean, come on, bro. There's only like a guy. So look at my hands. Maybe the fingers, the number of fingers I have, that's the number of people that can probably beat Keyshawn Davis right now. And that's not counting in a couple of years. It's probably going to be half of that. So, I mean, that's the problem with this fight game, though, is we build these kids up to be something they may not be, but then the kids have to live with that they were built up to be that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say I appreciate you so much. I really love your channel. I love the support you get. Shout out to all these people from 88 Sports Talk to Champion Heart to Lone Star. I can't read the rest part of that, but I just appreciate anyone that sat on here to listen to me talk. It's not always making sense, but the Boxing Section, truly professional platform. You do a great job. And the deeper thing about it is you love the sport, bro. And when I move on from the sport, I'm so glad to see people like you taking the reins. But at the same time, I just appreciate being able for you to give me a platform to just get on here and drink beer and talk.
Man, it's all good. Anytime. Anytime.
We'll do a Sunday. We'll do some Sundays. I got an idea for another episode, so I got an idea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. We got great chemistry. So
you already know we might have to find these sponsors, bro. We might be taking over.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. We might be next up. But I appreciate y'all for stopping by and showing y'all love and appreciation, man. Listen, make sure y'all go subscribe to my boy, man. Y'all make sure y'all please go subscribe to my boy. All right. Listen, man, y'all already know, man. It's always the True and Players Meet. Thank y'all for breaking bread with me. And with that, you already know what we on. We are out.
Out the roots, he let the beats build, bitch. And we never switch. Even if I'm rich, I'll be broke like I'm Mitch. Niggas talking down, but that's headed in the wrong direction. But I knock that shit out like the Boxing Section. Cause they can't touch what they can't see. All I gotta do is be the same me. All I gotta do is keep it G. Always be the same me. While I'm solid, boy, they can't change me. No.